Yeah, I'm on. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. Do we have any apologies for absence? He's present, okay. And no, no apologies. And any members' declaration of interest? Are the minutes of the last meeting, part 1, correct? Agreed. Pension Fund Audit Results Report. Nimashe, would you like to introduce Elizabeth Jackson from Ernst & Young?
Thank you, Chair. Out of the agenda item 4, I'm on page 3, the Merton Pension Fund annual report and the audit results. I will give a brief summary, then I'll hand over to our external auditor, Liz Jackson, who joined virtually, and she'll give an update on the audit for us. Okay, so I'm just asking you to concentrate on page number 4, where some key numbers there, pension funds or accounts were completed and published along with the council audit on the 29th of July. And the audit started soon after that, and we are almost complete with the audit. Few last checks to complete, and which the list will be updating, but some key numbers to update. If I take you through last March, which is March 2021, we had a net asset value of 900 million. In March 22, we are 926. In between, obviously, end of December 2021, the funds were even much more higher, 960 million. But in early this year, soon after the Russian-Ukraine invasion, the market, all the investment got some impact, so do Merton investments. And our closing value at 31st of March is 926 million, which is still higher than last year. And in the year, we had a total expense of 51.5 million. And out of that, 48 million is paid for members as pension benefits, which is relatively higher than last year because we had a bulk transfer as part of the South London Waste Partnership paid to the Merton Council. This was a service transferred in 2017, only now we completed. So that's what is slightly higher than last year. And we had a 3 million of expense, which is covering the administrations and also investment managers' fees. On the other side, we had 45.4 million as income. And out of the majority of the income, about 22 million is from 28 million is from the contribution paid by the members and also by the employers, and as everybody know, Merton Council is the main employer of the Merton Pension Fund. Merton paid a contribution of 22.1 million in the year. So these are some of the key numbers, and the membership marginally increased from last year to this year by 630 members. End of March 2022, we have 4,546 active members, 6,265 deferred, and 4,214 pensioners we have in the fund. So these are some of the key factors, and I'll pass it on to Liz Jackson to talk about the audit and the update. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Nimashe. Thank you, Chair. Yes, so I just wanted to present our auditor's results report. So as Nimashe has just indicated, our audit is substantially complete of the 21-22 financial statements. And you'll be pleased to hear that they were a good quality set of accounts that came to us from management and officers, so that kind of made our life much easier. We've obviously been auditing over the summer, and we have a small number of areas just outstanding, literally, that we're just wrapping up from the final kind of procedures, just from one of the last level 3 bits and some cash testing, but nothing that is going to kind of cause me concern for issuing an unqualified audit report at this stage. Obviously, until I finally sign my name, that could always change, but from the point I'm at, there is nothing in those accounts that indicate that I can't be issuing an unqualified audit report. Obviously, the deadline is the 30th of November for doing so, because of a national issue in relation to all councils, and actually like the council's accounts, not anything to do with the pension fund. We won't be meeting the deadline of the 30th of November. Your pension fund accounts would be ready to be signed at that date, which is probably what you want to take assurance from as the pensions committee. But this national issue around infrastructure assets means that we are unable to sign the council's accounts until that work is concluded, and Department of Level Up and Communities has concluded their work and therefore issued guidance to both the council and myself as the auditor. So on the pension fund specific, I'll quickly just take you through the executive summary, and then I kind of open it up to any questions. So you'll see from our executive summary the status of the work, but there's nothing in there that, as I've said, particularly concerns me. Then looking at the areas of focus. So we had two significant risks for the 21-22 financial statements. That is the management override of controls, which is the risk of fraud, which is in every set of accounts, regardless of the sector. And that was particularly around your posting of investment journals. That's obviously when management could manipulate the investment income and valuation through the posting of those journals. We've concluded that work, and you're pleased to know that there is no indications of management override. So therefore that risk did not materialise as feared. Then we have the valuation of level 3 investments, and that's just obviously because of the complexity of level 3 investments and the additional work and disclosures that are required around them. There is one adjustment to that figure in the accounts, and that is for £4.4 million. That was purely due to kind of like the late timing of the nature of the level 3 investment information that comes through to the council, and then the early completion of those preparation of the draft accounts. So again, it wasn't a particular error by management, it was just the timing of that information coming through. And then we have two other risks, or areas of focus as we call them, and one is around the IAS 26 disclosure, which is your actuarial present value of promised retirement benefits, and that's just again to ensure that it's been disclosed correctly in your accounts, and we can confirm that it has, and there's no issues arising in that work that we need to bring to your attention. And then going concern, and that's just that we're still in the process of doing that work, because the going concern assessment has to be taken up to the date that I signed the audit report. So we've agreed, because of the infrastructure assets issue that I mentioned earlier, there wasn't any point in a way in doing all that detailed cash flow work until nearer the time, to avoid kind of duplication on ourselves or the officers from doing it. But we have some of the work that we've done on lots of the work that we can do, and we're just waiting to do the final state up to the date of which I issue my audit report. But again, I can't imagine anything is coming out of it. You're a well-funded pension fund, and therefore there's no actual going concern issue. It's more around the disclosures that are in the financial statements that we're reviewing. We didn't identify any unadjusted misstatements, so anything that's kind of minor that hasn't need to be particularly mentioned in this report in detail because of the thresholds yet. They've all been amended by management, and again, there were a small number of disclosure type amendments that have been made, and nothing that's significant to bring to your attention individually. We've not identified any significant deficiencies in controls, so everything is working as we would expect it to ensure that the accounts are materially free from error. And there are no other reporting issues or independence issues that I need to bring to your attention. And I was going to leave it at that, because the report's quite self-explanatory, and obviously I don't want to regurgitate the whole kind of 30-odd page report. So it's really then, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Report. Does anybody have any questions on the audit report? No.
I must ask this, Liz, but I'll ask the question from you. Could you explain the increase in the audit fees? And we see it's going up, and I know it's not most of the time is up to you, it's PSSA, but it will be good for you to explain why the audit.
Yes, of course, Namashi, that's no problems. Through you, Chair, so I'm literally just quickly scrolling to the page. Yes, so the fee that was set a long time ago, back in before 1819, when we won this contract round, the current contract that we're in for 5 years. And that fee was set and is set by PSAA to be £16,000. Well, you'll all know, because obviously you do the detail with your actuary and kind of all your fund managers and everything, that your fund is that there is some relatively large complex investments within that, and it is impossible to audit that within £16,000. So therefore we've reassessed the fee that we determine needed to actually carry out the high quality audit that I'm required to do so, and for us to obtain all that evidence required to then me to be able to issue the audit report kind of once all the audit work's concluded. We've reassessed that fee to be an additional £35,000. You'll see on, sorry, it's my page 27, I'm trying to find your page 33, the final fee. So of that £35,000 that we requested from PSEA to be the additional fee, in 2021, they determined an additional fee of £16,000, so roughly half of what we asked for. We're obviously asking for that additional fee again in 21-22, because that is the cost of the audit to us. There are also some potential risk-based fee variations that we've not yet determined, but obviously we've not yet concluded the work. There's nothing arising so far that requires additional fee, but obviously as we conclude our level 3 work, we'll come back to officers and then obviously through you as those charged with governance to quantify those. And then there is a separate fee for the IAS 19 assurance work on behalf of admitted bodies, and we write and we have to do additional work and procedures that aren't required for the pension fund accounts, but actually as my responsibilities as the pension fund auditor, and for anyone who's on the audit committee of the council as well, I write to myself because I also sign the audit report for the council. But as the pension fund team, we have to do a significant amount of work to be able to write that IAS 19 assurance letter to the council's auditor to ensure that they can then issue their audit report to confirm kind of lots of the procedures and processes that have got in place at the pension fund to ensure that then the council figures are correct when they get their actuarial reports, and we can place reliance on it. So the fee is higher than PSEA have set it at, but that is because we determined that the fee is inadequate for the risk and profile of your fund and the work that we are required to do to be able to discharge my responsibilities as your auditor. Hopefully that answers the question.
I think so, but on the same scale, you've just put risk-based scale fee variation of verified or quantified. Does that mean there could be an additional cost to that included, which is to be confirmed, if I am?
Yeah, that fee's to be confirmed. It depends on what work we kind of end up concluding doing. For Merton, there isn't anything actually arising as such, but sometimes, and I have it on another pension fund where they've had like a change in membership data system, and therefore we've done an additional above and beyond project that is not included in kind of the standard fee-based work. So I'm not anticipating that to be a significant figure for you. And as you can see, PSEA did not determine in favour of EY last year anyway that the additional fee was only £16,000 when we asked for nearer 36. So they will arbitrate on behalf of the council, because the council are very sensible and do not agree my fee just outright, and therefore then they put it to PSEA to arbitrate on it between us to determine what fee they think is appropriate.
Thank you. So everybody happy with the report? Can we move on then? Thank you. Iman.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Liz, for
Thank you.
your
Bye-bye.
report. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
And the next one is Roger.
Thank you, Chair. This is just a brief outline of the headline from the quarterly performance review, July to September 22. Obviously, we'll go into this in more detail later on, but the headline figures are: during that quarter, the fund's total market value increased by some 13 million to 851 million. And over the 3 months to the 30th of September, total fund assets returned a negative 2.4% compared to the benchmark of a negative 3.5%. So although the fund's gone down, our fund went down less badly than the benchmark from that point of view. So it actually equates to an overperformance, albeit that the market, and we all understand some of the issues within the markets during that period, that all investments were struggling from that point of view. So that was our quarter position, and then over the last 12 months, the fund's performance was a negative 11.8%. Again, for pointing to a very turbulent and challenging year, and the 3-year annualized performance was a plus 2.5%. So those are sort of the headlines, and as I said, Chair, we'll go into the detail later on, but happy to take any questions, the more general aspect of our fund performance.
Any questions to Roger on the quarterly figures? No? Okay. Any other business? No? And so the next meeting for the first part will be on the 30th of March. And, oh yeah, I've got to read this bit. To resolve that the public are excluded from the meeting during consideration of the following reports on the grounds that they are exempt from disclosure for the reasons stated in the reports. So we close the meeting and move on to the next part.